Are you new to smoking or just looking for another cooker? Maybe one that can control the temperature precisely? Today we got the Masterbuilt Wi-Fi 710 digital smoker. We're going to get this opened up, put together, and we're going to be testing out this smoker. We're going to find out if it's worth the money. Stay tuned. We got a good cook coming up. I'm going to go ahead and get this box opened up. The first thing I noticed is just how heavy this is. I was actually surprised by the weight of this smoker. This is definitely not a chintzy light little unit here. We'll be looking at this for the first time together. Definitely well packaged. I don't expect to find any damage in here, but we'll find out. Everything's okay. I'm noticing that this smoker looks like it's insulated, which is going to be good for my cold climate. Assembly for this cooker looks pretty straightforward. All we got to do is bolt on a couple legs, put on the face for the controller. I think the hardest part about putting this together is going to be getting all this protective wrapping off and cleaning up the mess. So let me get this put together and we'll check right back. We got this all assembled. It was relatively straightforward. You're going to get this opened up and we're going to insert all the parts that go inside of the cooking chamber. So this smoker here has 4 racks. We'll get all 4 racks in. As far as size goes, you could definitely cook, I think, 2 pork butts in here. And if you're cooking ribs, you're going to have to cut the racks in half. Or if you got smaller racks of baby backs, you might be able to get 4 racks of baby backs. So I would plan on 2 whole racks of spare ribs and up to 4 racks of baby back. Okay, we got a water pan here. This is where your wood chips are going to drop. I'm going to slide that in. Grease pan here. This goes in the bottom. Slide that in. And then this goes around the back side to catch any drippings. I'm going to go ahead and get this fired up here just a second. We're going to burn this off. Important step anytime you get a new cooker is you want to heat it up good and hot because there could be some residue from the packaging or the manufacturing process. You want to burn that out before you put any food into it. The other thing I want to point out to you, besides this being Wi-Fi, it's also Bluetooth, as well as having 4 probe ports. However, it's only going to include 1 probe thermometer. So you're going to be able to monitor the pit temperature and 1 piece of meat. You can get extra of these sold separate. Time to burn this in. Plug this in. Let's turn it on and see what happens. I'm not setting up the Wi-Fi yet. I'll do the burn-in just using this controller, and then we'll set the Wi-Fi up. So let's hit the temperature button. This looks pretty straightforward. So we got 225. We can go down and see how low it goes. Yeah, it goes way down low, which is going to be great for making sausage. So we're going to crank this all the way up. The highest setting for the burn-in. It should be... Okay, we got this set to 275 for the burn-in. We're going to shut the door, keep the top vent all the way open, let the fumes out. I'll bring it back when it gets up to temperature. I am going to add a few wood chips because I want to get that smoke flavor to start to coat the whole inside of this smoker. I did go ahead and get the app set up. It's up to 235 degrees on the internal temperature. Having this Wi-Fi, for me, has become a must with most of my cookers because I'm normally pretty busy. And this way, I can monitor them on the go. So, now that we got a little bit of heat in here, we're going to go ahead and get some wood chips and start building that smoke flavor you got to have inside your smoker. Never cooked with one of these electric smokers. They come with a little cylinder. You just put a few wood chips in there, about halfway fill it. About like that. We're going to stick it in and rotate it. It's very simple. Makes it nice and easy to keep adding smoke flavor as the cook goes on. So we're going to add this. We'll probably do 1 more round of smoke because I do want to get a nice smoky flavor built up in here. So we'll add this. All right, we'll check back in a little bit. See, those smoked chips have hit the heat and we're starting to get some nice smoke rolling out of this. Sure does smell good out here. What better first cook for the Masterbuilt 710 than some money-saving deli-style roast beef? I picked this up for $3.99 a pound. You go to your store and see how much deli-style roast beef is going to cost you. That's going to start paying for this smoker in no time. So consider this an investment. We'll definitely be using this meat probe because I want to keep a close eye on the internal temperature. For me, I'm going to pull it at 110 Then we'll vacuum seal it and we'll let it rest up. It'll probably come to about 120. I like to keep my meat pretty rare. If you like yours more done, just pick whatever desired internal temperature you want. Remember, pull it 10 degrees before that gets to that temperature. So let's open this door up. Okay. It has a little alarm that goes off when the door opens. We're going to insert this meat probe through this port here. Okay. We're gonna move a couple of these racks out of our way because we don't need them. Just keep them right in there so we don't lose them. Okay, and then we're gonna insert this right into the center of the meat. If you don't want to see holes in your meat when you slice it, put it in this way. But I just feel more comfortable getting a good reading if I put it in this way. So we're gonna mark the halfway point, and then we're gonna slide it in. Okay, set this on the rack. When you're making deli style roast beef out of a tough cut like the eye of the round, you're going to cook it really slow. This is going to help to get it more tender. So I'm going 200. You go as low as 180. If you're in a hurry, crank it up a little bit, but I would not go past 250. Also, we're going to get some wood chips in here today. Today we're smoking with apple wood, but you use any flavor you want. Hickory would be great. Oak's normally one of my favorite woods to smoke with because it's a good all-purpose wood. It's great on anything. But apple wood works just fine as well. Takes a little bit of arranging to get these in there, but you're going to just fill these so they're level with the halfway mark on this, and that's the proper amount of wood chips to add at a time. And we're going to probably just do this one time because I don't want too much smoke. If you really want to load up the smoke flavor, whenever the smoke stops, go ahead and add another dose of wood chips. Weather's definitely taking a turn for the worst, but this meat's done. Sitting at 109 degrees. I like to keep it pretty rare. I'm going to go ahead and pull it right there. So we'll power this off. And we'll get the meat out. Smells good. Pro tip for you is to go ahead and put some cotton glove liners underneath some nitrile gloves. And this way you can handle hot food without burning your hands. I'm going to go ahead and remove this probe. Just set that back in there. Close the door so it doesn't hit us. All right, so the next step to this, as I mentioned before, is to get it into a vacuum seal bag and vacuum seal it. If you don't have a vacuum bag, just wrap it up really tight in a Ziploc bag or with some saran wrap. But what you want to do is you want to keep the juices with the meat and let this completely cool before slicing. I'd recommend letting it cool overnight. All right, so I got this in the bag. I'm going to vacuum seal this, shut this down. We're going to get the cover on here because this weather's getting terrible. But we'll see you back tomorrow to give this a taste test. Okay, this roast beef has been sitting in the fridge overnight cooling. Going to open this up, slice into it, and find out how we did. We're going to save all these juices and pour it back on top of the meat after we slice it. Don't forget to remove the strings before slicing. This roast does have a nice little bark on it, considering we smoked it at 200 degrees the whole time. If you want a good heavy bark on the outside, you can go ahead and sear it in a pan when you get done or over a grate or any other high heat cooking technique. But for my family, we prefer it just like this, so that's the way we're going to leave it. Let's get this sliced and we'll find out how we did. Nice medium rare roast beef here. If you don't have a deli slicer, just take your time and slice it really thin. But a deli slicer is another one of those money-saving investments. Look at this, nice and tender, pulls right apart. Time for the taste test. So I'm definitely getting a nice smoky flavor on this. It's a very clean smoke, it's not bitter. I'm impressed with how much smoke flavor we got. Just the right amount of smoke for a roast beef. I didn't want to overdo it. If you want more smoke, just add more batches of wood chips. Time you make something like this, just think about how much money you're saving. You'll have this Masterbuilt 710 smoker paid for in no time. Another money-saving kitchen gadget. Stay tuned, we got some beef jerky coming up next. Next test I'm going to put this Masterbuilt smoker through is we making some beef jerky. Right here I've got the marinade, which is pretty simple. I got 2 tablespoons of this Prosperity Vineyards balsamic vinegar. This stuff is really high quality. I'll leave a link if you want to get some for yourself. I've got a teaspoon of Redmond's real salt, a teaspoon of the classic SPG from Fire and Smoke, also 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And then we're going to grind some fresh pepper on top. Pepper cannon from the Man Kitchen. Wait till you see how fast this grinds the pepper. So right here I got the marinade. We're just go ahead and get that mixed up. This is really thick because the less liquid you add to your jerky, the better off. Because remember, you're trying to get it dry, so you don't want to add too much liquid. Now in this bag here, I've got some thinly sliced eye of the round. This is about 1.75 pounds. Just going to slice this nice and thin. I have a deli slicer, so I went ahead and did it on that. But if you don't, just use a knife and nice, thin, even slices. If you partially freeze the meat first, it's going to be easier to slice. You can see where we got there. I would say it's just under 1/4 inch, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch. When you put these in, you want to make sure that you get full coverage of the marinade on the meat. So you're going to put in just 1 or 2 at a time, and then we're going to keep flipping them around. Okay, you just want to kind of flip these all around. Make sure they all get the marinade on all the sides. All right, so once I get these all coated, I'll show you what we're doing next. So I went ahead and removed the racks from the smoker. We're going to put the meat right on that so it can dry out a little bit in the fridge. When it comes to what type of meat to use, I used an eye of the round, as I mentioned. You could use any cut from the round would be my recommendation. What you want is a relatively cheap cut that's also lean. So just keep your eye out for sales. Top round, bottom round. London broil is also cut from the round, so that's a great option. And it already comes cut into steaks, and you can just slice it. Also, you've got the choice whether you want to cut it across the grain or with the grain. It's just going to give you a different bite, but they both work. I went across the grain today, which would be more tender. We just finished getting all these out, and then the next step is we're going to put some pepper on here. I'm going to adjust this for a nice coarse grind. We're going to hold this up high because this comes out fast. We're just going to pepper one side nice and aggressively. Look at that. Can you see how fast that pepper's coming out? You want to make sure you hold this up high, otherwise you're going to get real concentrated pockets of pepper. I like doing it like this so you can control the pepper, make sure it's even on them. If you mix it in the marinade, you might get uneven spots. And plus, I'm keeping some free of pepper. Make sure none of the meat's touching. We might have to adjust a few of these before they go in the smoker, but we're going to put these in the refrigerator overnight. Let them dry out a little bit, and then tomorrow, these will hit the smoke. You can see they're not dripping with marinade, and that's on purpose because, like I said, the more liquid you put in, the more water you got to evaporate off. Sure grateful for this high-quality Masterbuilt cover. Got a little bit of snow last night. This canvas is really tough. This is not your ordinary cheapo grill cover. This is worth the investment. Get out of the way. Time to make some jerky. We're going to fire this up to 160. Once it gets heated up, we'll go ahead and get the meat on. Turn this so you can see it. Hit the power button, then we'll select the temperature. Now, we'll be back here in just a minute. Okay, so we're getting this jerky on now. Smoker set to 160. I got the timer on here set for 6 hours. I'm anticipating this cook take about 5, but every hour we're going to add more smoke chips to it. Going to get these racks in. All right, get this door shut, and then we're going to add some smoke chips. That should be enough. Just go with the 1/4 turn. And also, I got this top vent wide open because we're trying to dry out the meat. If you want a higher humidity cooking environment, just close that top vent down. But we're trying to dry the meat, so we got to have that wide open for this cook. Got some nice smoke rolling out of this Masterbuilt. Smelling good out here. A few hours into this cook now. Let's go ahead and open this door and see how it's looking. Let that steam get out of the way. I have been opening the door occasionally to let some of the moisture out because remember we're trying to dry this meat out. I'd say at least another hour on this, maybe a little bit longer yet. Okay, about 5 hours into this cook now. Got a feeling this jerky's about done. One thing I do want to show you about this Masterbuilt smoker is right here. This is the meat probe, and you can keep it right inside the pit and have a second pit temperature monitor also. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm always losing and tangling these wires up, so being able to keep it like that is a big benefit. Pull these off now, and I'll show you how you can tell when your beef jerky's done. Okay, when we're testing beef jerky, what we're going to look for is a nice bend, and when you bend it, you should start to see it break a little bit, and see that white on the inside. That's how you know it's done. It's a little bit flexible right now, but as it dries, it's going to get crispier. This right here for me is the perfect stage to pull your beef jerky off the smoker. If you like it crispier, you can go a little bit longer. If you want it chewier, you can put a little bit sooner. But remember, if it's too chewy, the moisture content's going to be high, and then you're going to have to keep it refrigerated all the time. So let's go ahead and get this beef jerky off. The nice thing about these removable racks is you can just use these as your cooling racks to put the meat on. Time to give this jerky a taste test. You can see it bends. It's not brittle, but it's thoroughly dried. This to me is just where I like my jerky. Not crispy and not chewy. Right there in the middle. Nice pepper chunks on the outside. Beautiful smoke color. First of all, if you've only made jerky in a dehydrator, you've got to do it in a smoker. This Masterbuilt 710 Wi-Fi smoker was perfect for this job. Maintained a nice low temperature. I did not have to worry about burning the jerky. I didn't have to worry about dirty smoke and over smoking the jerky. This came out just perfect with a nice clean smoky flavor. As far as the flavor on this jerky goes, mildly peppery. If you want a really peppery jerky, I would do both sides. But this is really a pleasant snack to enjoy. I prefer my food not overly sweetened. This has got a nice mild sweetness to it. If you want your jerky more on the sweet side, I would recommend adding some honey or some real maple syrup to it. Now, let's talk about this Masterbuilt smoker and how much money it's going to save us. By making your own roast beef at home, making your own jerky. I got some more cooks coming up where we're going to be making food at home instead of buying it out at the store. You'll pay for this smoker in no time. At least that's what we're going to tell the wife. With the price of everything these days, anytime you can save money and have a good time, winning combination. So I can't recommend this smoker enough if you're new to smoking or just looking for something else. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Also, head over to Instagram at RustyBBQLamb. I'm posting daily content over there. You got to come check me out on Instagram as well.